Look around. 90% of the businesses you see today will be dead in a few years. The storefronts will change, the signs will be torn down, the dreams quietly erased. It's not because the ideas were bad. It's not because the owners didn't work hard. It's because they walked blindly into a meat grinder, chasing a myth called passion, completely oblivious to the brutal laws of business and the harsh reality of financial literacy that govern true wealth. See, high sales can hide financial ignorance for a while, but a lack of financial education will always destroy an empire. Most people learn these laws through bankruptcy, but a select few get a masterclass. A young entrepreneur named Isabella wanted to open a luxury shoe shop in the heart of New York, but before she signed the lease, she did something smart. She called her billionaire uncle for advice. The following day, her uncle stepped into the showroom. He didn't say hello. He just walked around the perimeter, tapping the unpainted walls and looking out the massive glass windows at the busy Manhattan street. Isabella watched him anxiously, waiting for a compliment. Finally, he stopped and turned to her. "The rent here must be $40,000 a month. Am I close?" the billionaire asked. "42,000 actually, but the foot traffic is incredible, uncle. The location is perfect." The billionaire smiled coldly. "Location is just a pretty trap, Isabella. Tell me, why are you opening this?" "Because I have a passion for luxury footwear, and I know I have a great idea," Isabella replied calmly. The billionaire shook his head softly and leaned against the bare display counter. "Isabella, passion doesn't pay $42,000 in rent. Do you know why most businesses fail? It's almost never because the idea is bad. It's not even because the economy gets tough. It comes down to 9 brutal laws that people ignore because they are too blinded by their own excitement." Isabella frowned. 9 laws? That sounds like a lot. "Pay attention," he said, holding up a finger. "Because if you miss even one of these, this beautiful showroom will be up for lease again in 6 months. Phase 1. The laws of survival. Grit and traction. Number 1 is sales," the uncle began. "You can have the most beautiful luxury shoes in New York, but if money isn't actively coming through that front door, you don't have a business. You have an expensive hobby. No business survives without immediate cash flow." Number 2 is knowledge. Passion is useless without data. Do you actually know your industry? Do you know your direct competitors' exact margins? Do you know your specific customers' age, income, and shopping habits? Too many amateurs jump in blind and wonder why they sink. Number 3 is effort. This lifestyle looks glamorous from the outside, but it is a meat grinder. If building an empire was easy, every person walking on that street out there would do it. You are going to sacrifice your sleep, your comfort, your weekends, and, quite frankly, a few friendships. That is the exact price of admission. Number 4 is brains. You don't need to be Einstein, but you do need an aggressive curiosity. The market changes every week. You have to learn to adapt, pivot, and outthink the people who are actively trying to put you out of business. Phase 2, the laws of scale, the foundation. Isabella nodded slowly, absorbing the weight of his words. "Okay, I can hustle, I can adapt, and I will study the data. Is that enough?" "Not even close," the billionaire countered, moving to the next phase. Number 5 is capital management. You told me the rent is $42,000. What is your runway? If you bring in $100,000 a month in sales, but your inventory, marketing, and overhead cost $105,000, you are bleeding to death. You must understand margins and capital allocation or your growth will choke you. Number 6 is systems. Right now, you are planning to stand behind this counter and sell these shoes yourself. That means you don't own a business. You just own a highly stressful job. A real empire requires standard operating procedures, automation, and a team. A business must be built to run and scale without you. Number 7 is marketing and attention. You are banking on this New York sidewalk for foot traffic. That is lazy. In the modern economy, attention is the ultimate currency. You need to control the narrative, build an online community, and drive traffic digitally. If you rely purely on random people walking past this window, you are leaving your destiny to chance. Phase 3, the shield and the core. The uncle walked over to a stack of empty shoeboxes in the corner, tapping one of them. Number 8 is protection, he said sternly. As soon as you start making real money, you become a target. Competitors will steal your designs and people will try to sue you. If you haven't shielded yourself with trademarks, ironclad contracts, and the right legal corporate structure, everything your effort built can be wiped out overnight. And finally, number 9 is value. The flashy marketing gets them in the door once, but long-term wealth relies on retention. Your product must deliver undeniable quality. If a customer buys a luxury shoe and it falls apart in 2 weeks, your brand dies. The product itself must be a masterpiece. Isabella stood in the quiet showroom, the weight of the 9 laws completely shifting her perspective. The excitement of the lease was replaced by a sharp, calculating focus. "I see it now," she said, nodding slowly. "It's not just about opening a shop, it's about building an airtight machine. So, where do I start?" The billionaire smiled, reaching into one of the open boxes. "You start by understanding how human psychology actually works to trigger that first law. Sales. Look at these 3 pairs on the counter. To an untrained eye, they look almost identical. But watch what happens when we change the packaging." He lined them up neatly on the bare display counter. "This first pair is your baseline," he said, tapping a simple pump. "We price it at $50. It's functional, it gets them in the door, but it's basic. This second pair is crafted from premium leather, perfectly stitched. We price it at $100. And this third pair, it looks exactly like the $100 pair, but we place it right here on this velvet cushion, under a spotlight, and we price it at $300. Isabella frowned, staring at the shoes. "Wait, uncle, that makes no sense. Why would anyone pay $300 for the third pair when the $100 pair looks exactly the same? And won't the $50 pair just make the others look overpriced?" "A single price tag makes customers hesitate," the billionaire explained. "But give them 3 choices and you completely manipulate their perspective. It's called the decoy effect. The cheap option removes the fear of cost. The expensive option acts as a mental anchor. Suddenly, your middle option looks like the smartest, most reasonable choice. You aren't forcing them to choose if they want to buy, but which one they are taking home." Isabella nodded, fascinated, but then she paused. "But uncle, if I sell a luxury shoe for $50, won't that ruin the high-end image I want for this brand?" The billionaire's eyes lit up. "Brilliant. You are listening to law number 2. In true luxury, the rules change entirely. That brings us to the next psychological secret, the Veblen effect." He slid the $50 shoe completely off the counter and hid it back in the box. "In a normal market, if you raise the price, demand goes down. But in the luxury market, higher prices actually increase desire. Elite customers don't buy items just for utility, they buy them for status. If a wealthy woman walks into a Manhattan boutique and sees a shoe for $50, she won't touch it. She assumes it's cheap, poorly made, and common. In luxury, the high price is the value. We don't use a cheap option to lower fear, we use a premium price to trigger pride. So we get rid of the cheap options entirely," Isabella realized. "Exactly," her uncle said. "But status means nothing without the next rule. Artificial scarcity and exclusivity. Human beings don't just want nice things, they want things others cannot have. Look at that spotlight. It shouldn't just illuminate a $300 shoe. That shoe needs to be a limited edition. Only 50 pairs handmade in Italy. A wait list. When something is scarce, a customer's brain shifts from asking, 'Is this worth the money?' to 'Will I regret letting someone else buy my only size?'" He reached down and adjusted the price tags on the counter, making sure they read exactly $100 and $300, not $99.99 or $299. "Notice how I format these," he murmured, pointing to the numbers. "This is prestige pricing. If you use $99 or $299, you are using charm pricing. That triggers the logical bargain-hunting brain. It screams, discount store. In a luxury showroom, you use clean, round numbers. It triggers the emotional brain. It feels elite, confident, and effortless." Isabella looked at the 2 remaining high-end shoes, the velvet cushion and the stark, elegant price tags. The entire display felt heavy, important, and incredibly expensive. "It's psychological trap after trap," Isabella whispered. "But what happens after they leave, when they get home and realize they just spent hundreds of dollars on a single pair of shoes?" "That is the final piece of the puzzle," the billionaire said, leaning back. "Risk reversal and the experience shield. High-ticket purchases always trigger a post-purchase hangover, buyer's remorse. To build a luxury empire, you must eliminate that friction. The purchase doesn't end at the register. It's the heavy, textured shopping bag. It's the custom silk dust covers inside the box. It's an ironclad, no-questions-asked elite return policy. You make them feel so protected, and the experience so flawless, that the money fades into the background." He walked toward the massive glass windows, looking out at the endless stream of people on the Manhattan street below. "Master the 9 laws, Isabella, and you build the machine. Master this pricing psychology and you pull the world inside it. Now, are you ready to sign that lease?" Isabella looked around the empty showroom, no longer seeing a pretty trap, but a blank canvas for an empire. "Let's get to work," she said. Isabella chose to listen. She chose data over excitement, systems over hustle, and true financial literacy over blind passion. She realized that building a successful business is only half the battle. Knowing how to keep, protect, and multiply that money is where real wealth is born. The matrix of wealth isn't hidden. It requires a relentless commitment to financial education. The only question left is, which of these 9 laws are you ignoring in your own life right now? If you're ready to stop trading your time for a paycheck, elevate your financial IQ and build a machine that works for you, hit subscribe. Your masterclass has just begun.